So basically this talk is going to be about AI-enhanced hybrid task-based language teaching. I'm kind of in two minds between two things. Basically, I just to present what I think of what I have called hybrid task-based language teaching, and also wanted to accommodate that with the thrust of this conference, which is the use of AI. So I just thought of a combination of both to present the kind of typology of tasks that would sort of give us both an idea about what hybrid task-based language teaching might mean and how it can be AI powered or enhanced. So by the end of this session, participants will be able to discern key differences between TBLT and hybrid TBLT. Second, explore an evolving typology of tasks and their instructional implications, evolving, in the sense that this is not a kind of final version, but because of the free modularity that I will explain later on, we will have opportunities of what further typologies. We will also examine examples of AI-powered task design and implementation, and by reflecting on the viability of hybrid task-based language teaching or AI-enhanced hybrid task-based language teaching within our different ELT environments. So to start with, I just present task-based language teaching briefly. So it's a communicative approach to language instruction. It revolves mainly around the use of tasks, be they real-life tasks or pedagogic tasks. These tasks represent the core of the learning experience. So basically, all the learning happens through students or learners performing tasks. So instead of focusing on language systems like grammar rules, vocabulary, pronunciation, the learners engage in what is perceived to be meaningful activities, like, for example, the real-life activity of ordering food at a restaurant, writing an email, planning a trip, and any other daily life activity. By completing their tasks, whether they are, again, real life or pedagogic, students develop their language skills naturally, which basically ties in with the perception of learning as incidental learning in terms of TBLT rather than intentional learning, which is basically problematic for other contexts that do not adopt a TBLT approach. So overall, TBLT is a very interactive, learner-centered approach. It promotes communication, problem solving, critical thinking. It makes language learning engaging, effective, and if it opens up to other teaching approaches and to different modularities, it might become sort of much more effective than what it can really be at its current stage. Basically, again, according to the principles of TBLT, tasks are the beating heart of TBLT, and we cannot call any activity a task. Actually, there are distinctions between tasks and exercises. So basically, for an activity to meet and satisfy the criteria of a task, it should have, let's say, the following characteristics. And these are established by Rod Ellis. They have been established by Ellis long ago, but this is kind of sort of a restatement in his 2024 article on task-based language teaching and task-supported language teaching. So the third criterion is that the primary focus in a task is on meaning, not on language. So basically, we wouldn't call teaching or activities relating to grammar or vocabulary tasks. No, they are generally exercises, unless they are transformed into a task cycle that I will again discuss later on. Second criterion is that there must be a kind of gap. And there are three types of gap that we can think of. An information gap, where one student has, the information while the other does not, or in the case of input tasks, that information comes either from a reading passage or from a listening passage. So there needs to be a gap that has to be filled up in the process of performing the task. Another type of gap is the reasoning gap. And basically that happens when students work with information that they glean from the reading passage or listening passage and that they use later on to present different information. The third type of gap is an opinion gap. And it's generally when we ask the learners about what they think about a certain thing. So in expressing their opinions, they are filling a kind of opinion gap. This typology of gaps comes from Prabhu, basically the father of TBLT, who started working with TBLT in Bangalore in India. Third criterion is that learners should draw on their own linguistic and non-linguistic resources. So basically, we don't give them language to use. They're not supposed to be manipulating language, but using their own language to perform the tasks. And the fourth criterion is that there should be a clearly defined communicative outcome. So basically, at the end of the task, there is some form of communication between students and their peers, the class and the teacher. We don't have only one version of TBLT. It's not a monolith. Basically, Rod Ellis, in his 2024 article again, lists 4 versions of TBLT, indicating the similarities and differences between them. Most striking features are essentially the first one, natural use of language. Basically, that refers to what I mentioned earlier as incidental language learning, not intentional. So all of them agree on this. So basically, they are not open to intentional language learning. So whether it is Long or Willis, Peter Skehan, or Rod Ellis, it's a yes. Learner-centeredness does not seem an issue. We would all want to have our classes learner-centered. Task topics would not depend mostly on the teacher because some teachers work within contexts where they have to use textbooks. Task types can be varied and they can be manipulated by the teachers or transformed by the teachers themselves. Same thing for the medium. We can adapt to different task media. The other issue is focus on form. So basically, because there is no explicit teaching of grammar or vocabulary, then there should be some kind of focus on form that can happen either in the pre-task stage or during the task stage or post-task, where the teachers would address certain grammatical issues that might have arisen during their students' discussions. In terms of the last criterion or last feature here, which is also very important, is that most versions of TBLT reject traditional approaches to language teaching, except for Ellis, who is here expressing kind of change because up to a certain point he wouldn't admit that. But now he's arguing for a kind of flexible use of task-based instruction and structure-based instruction. But the way he presents it is still limited, and I will highlight that in the next section. So basically, where TBLT falls short is in its consideration of certain aspects of teaching and learning. So if you just see here on the slide, there are some kind of binary oppositions between incidental and intentional language learning, focus on form, focus on language systems, and modularity itself, which is the recent proposal by Rod Ellis, suffers from the same issue of binarisms between TBLT and TSLT, TBLT being primary, whereas TSLT is just secondary and reactive. And the existence of a kind of strict separation between TBLT and TSLT, which is task-supported language teaching, with an ultimate rejection of integrating the two of them. So Rod Ellis's proposal is represented in the diagram to the right. So basically it's a model. He thinks that beginner learners should be instructed using task-based teaching strategies alone. no room for task-supported strategies, no room for structured components. And then he suggests that the structured component should come at a later stage, basically intermediate to advanced levels, and it would grow accordingly. So basically it starts with a small proportion of class time dedicated to that to reach the highest portion at advanced levels. Now, the major issue with this is that Rod Ellis himself thinks of this as a way, that structured component, a way to a remedy for the fossilized errors that accrue in students' learning from their beginner level up to the advanced level. So in a way, he admits that there are problems that task-based teaching alone creates, and that task-based teaching alone cannot solve. It will need that structured component at a later stage in order to address problems. So the question here is, why create these problems in the first place? So this led me to propose what I call hybrid task-based language teaching, which takes TBLT out of its puristic shell. It takes it out from the modularity constraints imposed on it. The purpose is to enable it to operate freely, more effectively, as a node within a network of teaching approaches and principles, with no restrictions whatsoever on the possibilities of integrating them. One other important characteristic is TBLT's nodality is not fixed. It's not beyond the question. It can be a nodality of TSLT instead, and then TBLT would revolve around it, or would come as a kind of later stage in the task-supported activity. In this sense, hybrid TBLT can operate in a free modularity alongside TSLT, for example, multimodal literacies, project-based learning, or any other teaching approach, you name it. So in order to be able to do this, hybrid TBLT should offer a revised notion or revised notions of task, which would be conducive to an unlimited, unbridled, principled modularity, which is capable of accommodating all the teaching approaches mentioned earlier and any that might emerge in the future. So in a way, it's got not just flexibility, but also sustainability in terms of accommodating even future possibilities. This revisiting of tasks would imply either revised tasks or newer notions of task. I'm going to go over some of them. These are the kind of notions that I could think of at this stage, but this remains open to further developments. In the sense, or in the case of macro tasks, the lesson itself can stand alone as a one whole task, with a pre-task stage, a task cycle, and a post-task stage, exactly as the advocates of TBLT would have it. A lot of textbooks allow for this, especially in speaking and writing, because in both we have the process and the final product. So that could take a whole session, and the whole session could be, or could take the form of a full task. Or the lesson can be a succession of micro tasks. And those micro task cycles, yeah, can be also an alternation of tasks and non-tasks, meaning what? Exercises or structural activities. With structural activities or exercises, there is still room for optimization, with the production stage being what? A task. I'll show some examples of that later on, and this would be an instance or a good example of TSLT. Now, this first demarcation of macro tasks, yeah, can be developed further by looking at other teaching approaches. For example, these tasks, these two types of tasks, can be technologically mediated, and they can also be multimodal. By the way, multimodal would sort of meet all the criteria of different tasks, if I may say so. The technology-mediated tasks basically integrate AI tools, digital tools, educational technology platforms, either in the design or in the implementation, or both, of a task, yeah, whether that task is a macro task or a micro task. A new perception of task that I have developed based on multimodality uh, is multimodal tasks. Basically, the New London Group in 1996 came to the conclusion that the traditional perception of literacy as the ability to read and write does not hold anymore. Why? Because of the change in the nature of human communication, because of the digital age that we live in. Our learners, our students communicate in different modes. So any combination of those different modes that are listed in the chart is or turns the task into a multimodal one. So it's not purely linguistic or only linguistic, reading and writing. No, it can be oral, using recordings, audio pieces or videos. Can be visual, using still images. Video could also go there because it's moving images. It can be spatial, whether we're talking about the spatial characteristics of the interaction that we are watching or that is represented, or whether we are talking about the representation of the text itself on the page. And also gesture, because we communicate a lot with our gestures, nonverbal communication, and all these aspects of multimodality should be taken into account when devising tasks, when implementing them, etc. It is worthy to note here that multimodal TBLT operates within extended skill sets, not the traditional ones. Yeah? So basically reading and viewing, listening and viewing, speaking and presenting, writing and presenting. So basically there is the inclusion of the new skills of viewing and representing. Tasks or non-tasks can be AI powered. And the suggested typology that I have just gone over is not final. It remains open, as I said, to further developments. AI powering is one of the developments. Yeah. So basically, AI-powered tasks should be tasks that are AI enhanced. They can be a non-task as well, whether this happens at the design stage or at the implementation stage. I'm going to discuss a few possibilities. The possibilities are obviously limitless, but I'm going just to propose a few within the time limits of this presentation. These relate to Unit 6, Neurology, which is excerpted from Oxford University Press's series, Q Skills for Success, particularly textbook number 3, Listening and Speaking. This unit explicitly revolves around AI, but the suggested tasks and activities should be applicable and transferable to any topics or instructional units, not just limited to a unit on AI. The AI-enhanced elements are meant as examples again. It doesn't mean that we have to fit them all in only one lesson or in only one unit. No, we have just to be selective, and our selections need to be principled, and we do not need to make every lesson a pedagogical artificial product. So I'm going to start with the example of this unit, as I said, and consider some AI enhancement possibilities. So I can have an AI teacher introduce the unit to my students. This will provide them with a first-hand experience of AI before they engage with the tasks and activities in which they are going to discuss AI, what AI is, its uses in their daily life, and how they feel about it. So that would look like this.
Are we supposed to be hearing sound? I don't hear anything.
The audio is not working. The audio is not working.
I don't hear anything either, Marlowe. Faisal?
Yeah.
We don't hear the audio.
Right. I don't know. Is there anything I need to do with the probably
We can
during
hear you.
sharing? Some box needs to be ticked.
Probably.
Let me check again, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got it. So I should share the sound as well. Sorry for that.
Yes, please. Thank you. No problem.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes,
Okay, so I'll play it again. Yeah.
thank you.
Discover how stress on important words can make your speech more. Greetings, students. Prepare for a journey of discovery as we dive into an exciting new learning experience. Unit 6, Neurology, will sharpen your communication skills across multiple areas. Listening, learn to infer a speaker's attitude, detecting enthusiasm, skepticism, or certainty from tone and word choice. Critical thinking, strengthen your ability to justify claims with logical reasoning and persuasive arguments.
So I may just
Vocabulary,
stop this at
greetings,
this stage,
students.
yeah, because I've got probably more interesting examples. So the idea here is for the teacher to just tell the class that an assistant would be helping with the unit, then the AI assistant introduces the unit. The teacher could probably comment by saying, that sounds fantastic. Now let's dive into our first lesson. And then the lesson could start with a series of intertwined tasks and non-tasks. We have examples on the slide, activities A and B. Both of them are tasks, but again, I think I have to skip this. I just want to get to the other examples. AI can be used also when using TSLT, not just TBLT, insofar as teaching language systems is concerned. So basically, teachers can have some AI-generated materials. Basically, if you're teaching vocabulary, grammar, and you need to convey meaning, form, and pronunciation, then that can simply be AI-generated, and that saves a lot of time, as you can see in the example to the right. Basically, this is a very detailed example, but teachers can set an optimized format with the required details for their own MFP coverage. They can also use AI for concept checking questions, so it can help with that. It can help with the practice and production stages of a PPP instructional model by providing matching exercises, gap fills, MCQs, etc. And it can also design focus tasks for students to do a specific task, plan how to report it, and then report it using the target Lexis or role
Rob
plays.
Bot, tell me, will artificial intelligence ever be as smart
I'm
as...
going to display now a conversation that I had with Copilot, one of the AI bots. So basically, I wanted to just request a conversation between a human and a robot on the question of artificial intelligence, which is a question that students have to address in Unit 6. So the prompt is there. So write a conversation between a robot named Robbot and a human named Human about the question, will artificial intelligence ever be as smart as humans? Then the conversation that I got from Copilot was transformed into a video, which is the video that you can see to the right and that I'll play. Then Copilot made some interesting suggestions that I will present in the follow-up if time allows.
humans?
That depends on how you define smart. AI can process data at incredible speeds, recognize patterns, and even learn. But human intelligence is more than just knowledge, it includes creativity, emotions, and intuition.
So, are you saying AI will never reach human-level intelligence?
Not necessarily. AI is advancing rapidly, and it may one day match or even surpass humans in specific areas. But true intelligence isn't just solving equations, it's understanding the world in ways that machines struggle with.
Like art, philosophy, or emotions?
Exactly. AI can analyze art, but does it feel it? AI can simulate conversation, but does it experience connection? That's the human advantage.
So, AI may never replace human intelligence completely.
AI is a tool, not a replacement. It will enhance human capabilities, but it won't become human, at least, not in the way you are thinking.
Well, that's reassuring. But if AI keeps learning, who knows what the future holds?
Indeed, man. The future is full of possibilities, some we've imagined, and some we haven't yet dreamed of.
And some of the possibilities that I couldn't imagine was that Copilot suggested some futuristic twists. Would you like me to add a futuristic twist to their conversation? I asked, how many futuristic twists can you add? He said, oh, endless possibilities. But there are a few intriguing futuristic twists I could add to the conversation between robot and human. And he made the 10 suggestions that you can see to the right. He asked which. Again, see the use of the pronoun here. I may have used it. Should we use it, he, or she? That's another issue that could be debated. So which twist sparks your curiosity the most? I can craft a conversation around any of them. And I just asked for crafting conversations around all of them because I thought these could be turned into cards, and those cards could be given to students to choose from, to just have a further activity that would look like a jigsaw reading. They read the possibility they have chosen, the futuristic twist that they have gone for, and then they report that in a TBLT activity to the groups, to the class, to the teacher. I don't know how much time can I have just to finish this?
Oh,
Is
sorry.
there room for
I was on
a few
mute.
more
My
minutes?
apologies. You are technically over time, maybe 1 minute.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
okay.
was listening to what you were saying. I forgot to track
Just
the time.
just a couple of minutes to conclude.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, I was going to suggest another AI-generated video, which takes visible thinking routines to a higher level. So basically, the visible thinking routine here is step inside, perceive, know about, care about. The students step inside the picture and try to imagine what the firefighter perceives, knows about, cares about. Then the firefighter would talk to them through an AI multimodal enhancement, and they are invited to listen to what the firefighter says and compare his perspective to theirs. Concluding thoughts. So basically, I believe hybrid task-based language teaching may present an intriguing twist in TBLT and language learning methodologies, but it is worth trying. With AI enhancement, the adaptability and modularity of task-based instruction could open doors to highly personalized, context-sensitive learning experiences. The bringing together of structured, and task-based components of curricula would make hybrid task-based language teaching a compelling framework that caters to different contexts and diverse educational needs. The question that I have at this stage is fad or future? Whether hybrid TBLT is a fleeting moment or a foundational shift in language pedagogy depends on how well it integrates into real-world teaching environments. Its ability to evolve with technological advancements gives it promising sustainability, but adoption and practical implementation will determine its impact. I'll throw the question to you. What do you think? Does hybrid TBLT align with educational needs and trends, the current ones?